So I'm excited today to be able to host a conversation about gaming and gambling with some of the premier experts in the space, including Theo Goodman, Jez San, and Raul Saud. Theo, can you start us off just by talking about what you think are maybe some of the top 3 game or even NFT applications that have shaped the space so far?
Sure. So I think that definitely what shaped the whole NFT space or token space was Rare Pepe. So in 2016, we started doing tokenization of memes. Basically, it was just pictures of green frogs as a token, and they were traded. I mean, it was already an existing internet meme, the green frog, the Rare Pepe, but we made them rare because they were tokenized, and now we brought digital scarcity to that. Before that, the only real blockchain game that existed was Spells of Genesis, and what was interesting about that is that it was always supposed to be a game, but I don't know anyone that ever played Spells of Genesis. They just collected the cards, and there were also digital token cards. The thing that happened with Rare Pepe is that we had a community, and people were able to submit their own art. So they were able to create their own art and submit it for admission into the Rare Pepe directory. And that fueled really the whole thing. So people were making NFTs before NFT was a word. They were just doing limited editions of one, but it had not existed yet as a term, NFT. So for example, at the Rare Arts Festival in New York in early 2017, Homer Pepe sold for $30,000 in Pepe Cash. So someone bought an NFT with another token, which is Pepe Cash, which is also a collectible token in itself. So that in itself, that action itself, I definitely shaped the space because people saw the huge potential in that.
Does anyone here in the audience own an NFT or has owned an NFT before? Nice, really interesting. Jez and Raul, do you have anything you wanted to add, whether it's a DApp or maybe a genre-bending game like Satoshi's Treasure, or really anything that you think has really helped shape gaming in the space?
So the problem that we're trying to solve is how to bring trust to gaming and how to make the players feel safer playing games for money. And so, and there's a lot of problems with the existing industry and people having to give custody of their funds to a casino and actually make a deposit, and then they've lost control of their money and are very reliant on the casino to give it back when they've made a win or something. And that's a big source of complaint. So we try to address this problem by using blockchain technology to re-engineer everything about the way gaming is done so that there's no custody at all and that the games are extremely fair and provably fair. So to still bring the existing gaming experience that people want, but to actually do it in a new way that is very blockchain friendly.
So you're proposing that the company that you're working with is one of the games that has really shaped how we think about blockchain in games right now?
Well, their definition of gaming is gambling. So
That's
just
true. So there's like so many different sectors of this.
Yeah.
Across the different sectors, Raul, is there anything that you wanted to contribute in terms of which games do you think have shaped the various sectors of blockchain gaming?
Sure. So first of all, I come from a gaming background, like an actual video game background. And I also, my company sits at the intersection of regulated gambling and video games. So we see esports and betting on video games as one of the biggest use cases for blockchain. And the reason I say that is users well, as you know, it's very complicated dealing with crypto, and the adoption curve is hard. However, our customers tend to skew younger, and they tend to be more interested in crypto. They tend to be more interested in technology and things like that. So we've made it possible for people to bet on games that they are familiar with. So you can bet on Fortnite on yourself on the Unicorn platform. You can bet on League of Legends, Dota 2, CSGO. You can actually bet on your own skill, and we put odds on your chances of winning games. And then at the same time, you can watch other people, like other competitions, and you can do live betting. Just like you can bet on the NFL or you can bet on Premier League, you can actually bet on esports on the Unicorn platform. We put odds on all of the major matches. And then we just launched today that you could bet on streamers. So it's another huge use case where you can watch streamers on Twitch, like people like Ninja or Dr. Disrespect or whoever, and you can actually place bets on what they're doing in Fortnite and Apex Legends on the Unicorn platform. So we think that that gaming, regulated gambling on video games is a huge space. It's the future of gambling. We think that all of the casinos in the US and all of the major bookmakers around the world are going to look at this space. We're probably 2 to 3 years ahead of the market right now, but at some point they're going to catch up. So,
and it's quite a challenge because in the space they're operating in, where players are playing and other people might be betting on the outcome, there's a high risk of cheating or throwing games, and I'd love to see the solutions and how you make those games fair.
You'd also use the word huge. Do either of you guys know of any way that we can quantify the traction in this sector right now?
I think gambling in blockchain and crypto is probably one of the main use cases, other than trading of assets. So, and it will continue to be so because it allows you to offer experiences that are less border specific or less more global, and also that there's no payment problems and there's no customer service problems. You've got once people have crypto assets and can use them in games, then they can play any game, and so we're on the regulated side as well. And we do KYC on the customers, which is a big difference with some of the incumbents.
generally speaking, though, people are betting more now on esports than they are on hockey. So to give you an idea, like NHL hockey was pretty big for betting. Esports is getting bigger, and over time, I believe that esports is going to take over many traditional sports. They're going to become less relevant. Esports is only getting bigger, whereas other traditional sports like the PGA Tour and Major League Baseball, their fan base is getting much older. So over time, they're going to be less relevant.
Yeah, that's true. Also, over 50 million people play fantasy sports. So they have like some kind of fantasy league that they participate in. And so that's really big in the US because that's legal, right?
Right.
So basically, fantasy sports is the gateway drug to gambling, and they're all doing it. And
but the only reason the fantasy sports market exists in the US is because the land-based casinos have got the market locked up and don't allow online gaming.
I agree with you. I'm just saying that that's a huge market. All of those people are used to betting on sports. It could be esports, football, it doesn't matter. But they've already, they want to do that. And they're going to, as soon as the regulatory landscape changes, I think all of those are that's a huge market of people that will potentially probably be the first people to bet on sports.
We've been waiting for the regulatory market to change for a very long time. I too have a history in computer games as well. That's how I got started. I did 25 years in computer games and then migrated into gaming for adults, like gaming for money.
So considering those challenges, but also the opportunities, Theo, where do you think there's the most room for growth this year when it comes to blockchain and gambling?
That's this year is, it's kind of tough.
Ambitious.
Yeah, right, ambitious. Where's the most growth potential? Well, of course you guys are regulated, and I totally get that. But a lot of the growth potential is, like I said, people want to bet. Okay? And it's not always legal depending on where you're located on Earth. So people use crypto to do regulatory arbitrage and do what they want.
But it's a real problem because the companies that are operating illegally today in markets they're not supposed to, those are anonymous companies with anonymous founders, and they're basically operating under the law, and that can't be sustainable in the long term.
Oh no, that's maybe not, but there's always going to be. Totally, that might not be sustainable in the long term, but there's a need for it. People want it, and the market, that's what the market is. So as far as this year, that is probably the biggest growth, using just crypto as a payment, regardless of what crypto it is, Bitcoin or whatever. And then, just, using some offshore things.
I have $1 billion business idea this year for this space. That's, somebody out there can create a KYC and AML system for gambling companies to connect into, where people can bet with any crypto on the platform. That's like an awesome product for somebody like us, for example, where if you already do the KYC and AML, and you can connect that blob file, like from Jumio or whoever it is, to our platform, and we can tap into an existing pool of customers that have already been KYC'd, we'll use your service.
And that's exactly what we've built today. So we have a KYC system that is effectively a passport, and then once you've passed KYC once, you could play on any site that supports that KYC system.
Gotcha, and I really do. I do want to give credence to what you had said about the challenges when it comes to compliance. Was there anything else you wanted to add there in terms of how your company is approaching that in a unique way compared to other gambling companies? You can start, Raul, if you want.
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
Jez.
Well, look, I'm just going to say this. From a gambling perspective, we are very tight with regulators. We have a really good reputation with gambling regulators. The problem, and by the way, crypto has such a huge future in this space. It's sad, actually, because a lot of the gambling companies are scared of crypto. Everybody's scared of crypto right now. And the reason is because of the lack of regulation, and because in the US, like, it's kind of scary. Like, it's not only just a lack of regulation, but it's like people are making comments, the SEC makes comments, or, FINRA makes comments, or whoever the hell makes comments, the New York DFS, and nobody's being very clear about what is the regulatory clarity for a company to operate in the US. That's one problem. But I can tell you that as a company that has built an economy around a token, there is no better future for gambling than through a tokenized economy like crypto. Where customers can come and they can connect their Fortnite account to the platform and earn tokens that they can bet with. How awesome is that? You can't do that with regular currency, right? If somebody comes and deposits 20 euros and places a bet, we'll give them a bunch of UKG to bet with as well as a bonus. I mean, the idea that you can build an economy and an ecosystem with a token economy in gambling is huge. And I can promise you that casinos are looking at it, everybody's looking at this as like, this is the future, now how do we get into it? And regulatory clarity is what's needed to make it happen.
Jez, did you have anything you wanted to add there?
No, I agree. Regulatory clarity is the key. And one thing we're hearing from some of the regulators we're in deep discussion with is that we've really moved the bar forwards by not taking custody of the player funds. That they don't have to deposit it into the system, they don't lose control. The saying in the crypto world is, you don't own your private key, you don't own your money. We have solved that problem, allowing people to play gaming for money without having to lose control of their funds. And non-custody is something the regulators are really looking for.
Gotcha. I'd really love to go down the line and ask all three of you, in addition to compliance, which is clear as a challenge across the space, what are the other constraints or obstacles to adoption that you think we need to keep in mind when it comes to gambling and gaming using the blockchain?
So we're already live, and we see real analytics of the customer flow and when they arrive on the site and how they get on. And so we can see where they're stumbling. And there is significant friction and resistance to onboarding customers, which everyone in the blockchain world is seeing. And part of that is the lack of browser support for certain blockchains and the wallets, which are very crude, they're difficult to use, and they only run on certain browsers. So we've started to address that. We rebuilt a KYC system recently, and we have our own wallet coming out next month, which solves some of those problems. Because right now, for instance, in Ethereum, the most popular wallet is MetaMask, which is a great wallet, but it only runs on 28% of the browsers that are out there. It doesn't run on, it only runs on Chrome on the desktop, doesn't run on Chrome on the mobile, doesn't run on Safari, doesn't run on Edge. And so that's a real hurdle when the wallets don't run on the browsers that people are actually using. And so we've built a wallet that does run on 100% of the browsers.
Could someone get me a water, please?
Sam, can you grab him a cup of water, please?
I'll let you drink water, and then I'll just say. So I was just going to say that from our standpoint, look, the hardest thing is really just discovery and accessibility of crypto. Really simple. The whole thing is, like, our platform, we made it super easy for customers to be able to come, open up a wallet and place a bet. The customers are the custodians of their tokens. It works really great. Here's the challenge, though. How do they get the coins in the first place? How do they discover your platform? And so when I think about getting listed on an exchange, like getting UKG listed on an exchange to me is not about liquidity or what the token price is. I don't care about that, because I know that as user adoption grows, the entire platform will grow. So how do you get adoption? To me, getting on an exchange is about discoverability. If we get listed on Binance, for example, it's about getting discovered by Binance customers. And I see exchanges changing from platforms of exchanging a bunch of coins to becoming more of platforms to help companies like ours be successful. So you'll see less coins over time. You'll be able to discover new coins on these platforms, and then being able to access it on the platform itself. So we want a day where customers can swipe a credit card on the platform and buy their tokens directly off the exchange. We've already built that solution with Bittrex, and we're looking to expand that to other exchanges as well.
So
Again, those are like the two key things. Just one more thing. So besides that, besides accessibility and discovery of the token and using it on the platform, it's also just being able to cash in and out like a cage. Being able to bet with any coin, whether it's Bitcoin or Ethereum, having it exchanged to UKG, and then having the customers be able to leave with that coin and cash out is also really important to us. Those tools, if exchanges can help us build those, that's the biggest
I really don't think exchanges are going to be helpful, especially not in gambling, because they need gambling licenses. They need significant extra regulation.
Not necessarily. We're working with exchanges now today who use our gambling, who know about our gambling license, and they're working as payment processors for us. They don't need a gambling license to be a payment processor. So it depends on how you build.
They're doing some.
I think it's really interesting that you guys have different experiences also in the same sector.
Yeah.
Theo, is there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, sure. I think as far as constraints, those are more, regulatory or technical constraints. Why should I use, blockchain games or crypto? It's not really. If I go to someone and they bet on sports, and I say, oh, you can use crypto. Why? Why should I do it? I don't have. There's not a really good argument right now. They have to get crypto. You have to gamble while you're gambling. So you have like double exposure. You have to pay the spread to go from fiat to crypto, and then you got to go on the platform. And then while you're playing, the token price.
But on
doubles.
the other hand,
Just in a minute.
But I'm saying people will adjust to that. Maybe they will like to do that in the future.
They will, because the kind of people that do speculation and token trading are already gambling with their tokens, so there's already a good crossover.
No, I think that's why, totally, that's what we have now. But as far as the mass market, we have to figure out a way to make it easier for them to want to gamble with
and you also have to give them a reason to do it, right?
Yeah, sure. Those are good steps.
But people are looking for reasons. They don't just want to trade their tokens. They actually want to use them. They want dApps to exist. They want to actually have functionality. They want to be able to play games with them. And we're finally giving them something they can do with their tokens and actually play.
I agree with you. It's just there's just some things missing. Like, for example, how do I make a parlay on the blockchain system or whatever? It's a little bit too technical still. Even though you can swipe a credit card, there's just classical bets that you can't always. They're not.
You can you can. It just
maybe you can do it on Unicorn.
Yeah, you can on Unicorn. You can do parlays, all those different types of bets. Very high speed transactions. But that's only because we do like a private public type blockchain system. It's not all on blockchain, right? Because it's hard to do a live bet when you're waiting 30 seconds or 30 minutes for a transaction to go through. But on our platform, we can do 9,000 bets per second. The thing is, the user has to trust the platform.
So we're running on the public blockchain, and we've built our own layer 2 scaling solution.
Which blockchain?
We're on Ethereum.
Ethereum.
And so we're 100% on Ethereum. Everything is on the blockchain. But we have a layer 2 scaling technology that we invented ourselves that allows us to get the high performance. So we can do thousands of transactions per second, and yet we're still on a public blockchain. So people don't have to trust that it's a private or a small blockchain.
Raul, what do you think is one of the blockchains that has the most potential for gaming developers? He's working with Ethereum. Do you also work with Ethereum?
I like Ethereum a lot, actually. I like it. I like what it stands for as well. Just generally speaking, I think Ethereum is probably the best for a business like this. Smart contracts have a place in this space. I get a little concerned. I'm not going to name names, of course, but I get a little concerned when I see sites out there taking bets with a quick connection and just dropping coins into a wallet. Really, what's happening is it's the largest underage gambling ring in the history of gambling. The last one was skin betting, but now it's crypto, and there's so many sites out there that are unregulated, that are like dice games and slot machines and all this other stuff that you have no idea if it's provably fair or not. I guarantee you it's not. And then the other thing is, where is the licenses coming from? Some of these guys claim they have a license, and some of the licenses are like from Curacao. I could get a license in Curacao in a day. So you got to be really careful when it comes to gambling. You're better off just going out and buying a stack of like shit coins than going to some of these sites and betting on dice, because you will not win on those sites.
And as Raul says, they're allowing kids to play, and that's just like that's
so wrong.
That's the line in the sand that we can't do. And the only way you can make sure that kids aren't playing is to do KYC and verify their age. Not just say in the fine print, if you're too young, don't play, which is what those sites are doing.
Right.
Because kids are going to ignore the fine print and play anyway, and we can't let kids play.
So I'm hearing the competition between the unregulated providers and the regulated compliant businesses is still very fierce.
But right now, the biggest market in blockchain and crypto gaming is the underground illegal market where they're not doing age verification and they're not doing geo-blocking of illegal countries. And so, we're in the regulated play, and we think that is the massive growth.
My 15-year-old son showed me the other day. It took him 5 minutes to get on a site and play Buffalo slot machines, and he's showing me how he did it. I was shocked.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a kid.
I mean, I'm totally with you guys. Age. You can't have kids gambling. That's wrong. But what's interesting, just to note, is that the whole concept of provably fair came from unregulated casinos, because regulated casinos don't need it, because they already have a license and they're already.
But you can say they don't need it, but people still don't trust.
Exactly.
I know they don't trust. I'm just saying, like, in general, if I'm, that's why, like, if I go to, whatever, a Ladbrokes or whatever casino online, it doesn't say provably fair on it right now, because those customers don't care about it.
Right.
Of course, I'm with you. A lot of people don't trust. I mean, if you lose money, you might want to blame someone. Maybe
But even the regulated casinos, people have to deposit money in the casino, and then they have trouble getting it out again.
No, I'm with you there. I'm just saying that it's just interesting. The reason provably fair came about is because people didn't trust those underground dice sites.
Yep.
And so they said, okay, well, we're going to do this thing, provably fair, and make it so you can cryptographically prove that the dice game is.
But it only works for a dice game. That's the problem, is that because traditionally dice games started in crypto, that the provably fair that they claim only works for dice games, where they have a random number and then they can prove what the random number was. But when the game is more sophisticated, like blackjack or roulette or something, then to do provably fair, you need smart contracts, which is what we're doing.
Theo, was there something you wanted to add? Like,
No, I mean, that's, if you want to do it on chain, it's correct. He's correct in that sense. It's just that the most of course, the provably fair going on dice sites, or even blackjack or whatever sites that have that provably fair, that are so-called underground or Curacao or whatever, it's on-site provably fair. So you do have like a double trust factor, in the sense you have to know what provably fair is, you have to understand enough to actually check it.
But just to be
and
clear,
then you have to trust that site that it actually didn't just put. I mean, you could spoof that too.
But to be clear, if you're a good operator, like if you're a unicorn who has a license from the Isle of Man, a license from Malta, you don't need to say you're provably fair. Like you have a good license. You're a good operator.
That's what I'm saying.
But and I think that's just that's really a debate between whether or not full decentralization in gambling is even a thing, or or having a bit of centralization. I don't see a world where full decentralized gambling is actually safe or makes sense.
Well, the technology we built does allow that.
But you're not fully decentralized.
We're not fully decentralized.
You're still doing KYC and all of that stuff, right?
It could
but we're doing it on the blockchain.
I'm talking about like fully decentralized.
I still think there's a world where we can do fully decentralized gaming
I'm
and
not sure
still
there's a world where full
comply.
decentralization exists as a concept, but I do think that we can hold that as a goal and move towards it, and definitely tools like that can
It'd
help.
be interesting to see that happen. I want to see an exchange do that, well first, and I think we're close, but we're not there yet, and then we'll go from there. But
Gotcha. So to wrap us up, I want each of you guys to name. We've mentioned a lot of games. We've mentioned Pepe. We've mentioned blackjack. We've mentioned esports. Is there a specific game? Just one that you've noticed getting more traction in the last few months through either your companies or in the communities you're involved with. Raul, did you want to start us?
Yeah, so Fortnite and Apex Legends are super popular games. They're probably the most popular streamed games right now on Twitch, and that's why we started offering live betting on those games, where you watch streamers and you place bets. And what we did was we created a normally, when you're watching a game as a betting company, you have traders who create odds live, and it's not scalable if you're trying to open up a bunch of streams. So we created AI trading bots, and we use computer vision technology and some predictive analytics to be able to do as many streams as we want. We can run 6 streams per server online 24 hours a day. So we support those games for betting.
What was the one word?
Which?
The one word that the game is that you've been describing.
The one word I'm describing?
Yeah, what is the
He's
game?
describing Fortnite, I think.
Fortnite.
Yeah, Fortnite and Apex Legends.
Which
yeah.
I think
And
someone's
Jeff?
heard of. Well, we build our own original games. Fate of Thrones is we both have it in a slot machine format and a scratch
neat.
card format, and it's inspired by a very popular game. And we have all the traditional casino games like blackjack and roulette, and we have crypto kind of games like dice games, and then we have our own original IP games.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think just Champions League, we had some real crazy games in Champions League. Liverpool is going to go to the final now. And because of their real crazy games, it's got a lot of people's attention. And soccer is still, the world sport, and everybody understands soccer in the whole world, and everybody
even
bets
in
on
Maybe
it.
outside the US.
Even in America, That's why I said
Okay.
soccer, But really, and because there were these crazy games that got a lot of attention, and there's just way more attention to that. So in the real short term, I think just traditional soccer is still taking off.
Soccer, Fortnite, and a wide range of doing things your own way. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming and sharing your divergent and also in some ways aligned opinions. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you.